Hi, my name is Cole Evans and I'm from GMP Performance, and today we're going to walk you through the steps on how to tune this 2015 BMW M3 through Dinan's DPP software. So the first thing we need to do before tuning the vehicle is identify the condition of the vehicle in its current state. That means taking the vehicle for a test drive and seeing how the vehicle operates under partial load, full load, and all driving conditions that the vehicle is going to be going through. So we'll go take it on a test drive and we'll see the conditions that we want to test for before we tune the vehicle. Alright, so today we are driving a 2017 Volkswagen All-Track. This All-Track has APR Stage 2 on it, but this is a good test vehicle to demonstrate what you should be looking for when you're test driving a vehicle before a tune and after a tune. What we're going to do right now is we're going to give the car partial throttle, and we're looking for if it's hesitating or not wanting to move or stuttering, and that's kind of telling you that this car is really not ready to be tuned. It can have a number of issues underlying that need to be solved before the tune, because the tune can make those issues worse and can cause a customer to say, well, it wasn't doing this before all this, which is something that you don't want to happen. So another thing that you want to do when you're doing an in-car test is you want to go under full load. You want the car to be pushing at the max. So right now I'm in second gear and we're going to do a full load wide open throttle pull. And we want to do a wide open throttle pull because that's kind of showing, all right, at the max conditions, can this car function properly? Is it throwing a check engine light? Is it misfiring? So right now, as you see, I'm gonna do a full boost pull, and this car is not hesitating, hiccuping, it's driving normally. It's also very important to do this test drive after the tune, because before the tune, it may pass all these tests that you have, but after the tune, since it's running more boost, more timing, more spark, these underlying issues that the stock software may not bring up can happen after a software tune. The next step to tuning this vehicle is to attach a battery maintainer. The purpose of a battery maintainer is to keep the voltage at the proper level for the ECUs to all function together. The battery maintainer we are using today is a 20 amp battery maintainer that we are going to be connecting through the jump terminals in the front of the vehicle. You cannot perform this flash without a proper battery maintainer, or else you have the risk of breaking an ECU, which will cause the ECU to be immobilized. So after we've attached our battery maintainer, the next step is to scan the vehicle and check if there's any present codes in the engine control module. We need to make sure before we flash this vehicle that everything in the engine control module is functioning properly. So the first step I'll do to do that is turn on the ignition. And in this case, I'm using my Altel scan tool, which depending on your scan tool, you will have different ways of finding the information, but basically we're just going to scan the vehicle and see what the overall condition of all the control modules are. Now we've scanned the computer and we've seen that we have no faults present in any of our control modules that we're going to be modifying today. As we see here, the DME, which is basically the ECU, has passed and no faults found in the control module. Now we can go into the tuning process. So we have our battery maintainer hooked up. It's currently maintaining the battery voltage. Our ECU is passed or scanned, and now we're going to go to our Dinan software on the right here. This is what your Dinan suite is going to look like. The icon for launching this is going to be DPP, APR Browser 3. Now once we're plugged into the OBD port through our Cheetah cable, we can start the tuning process. The first thing we're going to do, since we're programming the ECU on this vehicle, is going to click Program ECU at the top right of the screen. This screen is telling you that there's no faults present. We're having a battery tender on the vehicle. We want the driver's side seatbelt fastened. We don't want any CDs in the CD player. It sounds weird, but that's a prerequisite for one of these flashes. And we do not want to touch or open the door or try to not disturb anything in the vehicle when we are doing this flash. Once the computer has identified the ECU, it will pop up with the VIN number and the box code on the top right corner of this screen. That tells us that it can read the ECU, and now we can move to our next step. Our next step is going to be filling out our customer field. The email is very important for this process to be correct, because sometimes the software company will require an authorization for the tune to go through. So now we are going to enter all of our customers' information and create the customer. Once we've entered our customer info, now it will bring us to this screen. This screen is where we are going to select what kind of tune that we're going to be applying to this vehicle. This vehicle is getting a Dinan Stage 1 tune on this car. The way that you can filter through the tunes is by this drop-down menu here. We're going to click all stages to see what tunes are available for this vehicle. Now we're going to select the drop-down and see that we have a Dinan Plus version, a Dinan Plus with heat exchanger, and we have a Stage 1. It is important to note with the F80 M3s that if the ECU has been updated recently from the dealer, there is a good possibility that the ECU has to be shipped to Dinan to have it unlocked so the vehicle can be flashed. If the ECU has been updated recently by a BMW, we cannot flash the ECU at our facility here. This ECU is not being locked by BMW, so we can flash it here. If you want to know if the ECU needs to be sent out, it will have a locked description next to it, which means that the ECU will have to be sent to Dinan to be done. So we are now doing a Stage 1 flash on this, so I'm going to select the Stage 1, and I'm going to go over here and click Continue Burn. Then this is telling me that this is a single program only file. So we are going to select a Stage 1 93 octane file. Now once you click it, it will go to the right, and that states that you have selected a Stage 1 93 octane file. At this point, some Dinan products require an authorization code. This does not, so we are going to select none. And there's no current promotion right now. So I am going to, actually there is a spring sale which I am going to select, which gives us a 5% off currently. If there's any comments that you'd like to put, this is a good place to put them. Here at GMP, we like to put the sales order number. So I'm going to quickly put that in. Once I have all my information selected, I'm going to double check and verify that my battery tender is currently charging, which it is. And now I'm going to select Burn ECU. This is the screen that's going to show when it's starting to burn the ECU. Over here, you can see the status of it. Right now, it is currently programming, and they'll have a status bar here showing the percentage. This is a good time to remember that we do not want to touch the vehicle or change or turn off the ignition anytime in this process, or else the ECU can be bricked. On this screen here, you'll see a green check mark stating that the flash is completed successfully. At this time, we want to verify that all of the control modules have no codes in them, so we'll clear them out. And then after that, we're going to test drive the vehicle, make sure everything's functioning properly, and we have one Dinan tuned BMW.